Many of you are mourning the death of our beloved Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. But also, many of you will be asking yourself why she died so suddenly. What happened? Why she was not taken to hospital? On 6th of September, she was smiling on her feet, saying goodbye to one Prime Minister and welcoming our new Prime Minister. 2 days later, she's dead. What happened? There is no doubt that Queen appeared very, very frail, and as a geriatrician, I can only hypothesize on certain facts, which I'm going to talk about here, because Queen's health, of course, is a very tightly guarded secret. Now, her frailty is likely to be the result of age-related changes to the body. She was a 96-year-old lady, as well as disease-related changes. I don't know about her health condition, but we do know that she tested positive for COVID in February. And although we were told that she had only mild symptoms, in a 96-year-old, even mild symptoms can leave a long-lasting effects and negative effects on her health. And of course, let's not forget that only last year, Queen lost her beloved husband. Amalgamation of all these factors would make her frail, and of course, the other important factor is the pandemic. And even though the Queen had her vast gardens, no doubt during the pandemic her physical activity levels were not as good as they were before the pandemic. So add to all these factors deconditioning, and you have this frail individual. What is frailty? Frailty is a lack of physiological reserves. So she was running on very low reserves. And when you have such a frail state, what happens, even minor medical problem, be that a urine infection or chest infection or major problem, and at 96 you might have anything might come your way. It could be stroke, heart attack, whatever. With low physiological reserves, with a very weak immune system, even minor problem will lead to very rapid decline in one's health. Now, if Queen Elizabeth wasn't Queen Elizabeth, but was Mrs. Elizabeth Windsor, living in the nearby nursing home or in a nearby neighborhood, and she was fit and well 2 days ago, sitting and having lunch with her family, but 2 days later she suddenly deteriorated, I will tell you as a geriatrician what would have happened. The ambulance would have been called, she would have been taken to hospital, where she probably would have spent several hours waiting in the A&E department to be seen. She then would have been seen by junior doctors who do not have any experience of dealing with the frail individuals, and of course they're out of medical school taught to treat, and that individual, Mrs. Elizabeth Windsor, would have had loads of blood tests, needles going into her fragile arms, and you probably noted all these photographs where you could see her arms already bruised because of the as we grow older, the skin on the arms becomes very thin and easily bruised. And of course, when doctors go in, doctors and nurses with their needles and venflons and antibiotics, I see the hands of my patients completely bruised. And then they are shoved from one ward to another, from changing one medical team to another. And at the end, you have a confused individual who is dying in hospital. Why this is happening? Because we do not talk about death and dying openly. We do not plan for death. Queen Elizabeth, as you know, had her funeral planned decades ago, Operation London Bridge. And no doubt that her death and dying was planned as well. There is no doubt that the Queen had an advanced care plan where she told her doctors how she would want to be treated when her health declines rapidly or gradually. And I'm sure she must have told them that when the level of frailty is as such and she is unlikely to regain her independence and there is no prospect of recovery, she probably told her doctors not to take her to hospital and not to give her any life-prolonging treatments. Hence, she died peacefully, we are told, with great dignity in her beloved Balmoral estate, surrounded by her loved ones. My patients die all on their own, in the middle of the night, in the hospital, in the noise, in bays with other patients, with the noise. And I would like us to learn from the Queen. Our Queen was exemplary in all sorts of ways. Not sorts, always. And she taught us even a lesson in dying. So, my dear listeners, if there is one thing the last lesson probably from the Queen we need to learn is, whoever you are, sit down with your loved one, talk about how would you want to be treated when your health deteriorates. Don't wait until your health deteriorates, because the emotions are heightened, everyone is very upset, and people don't want to talk about death and dying when things are very imminent because everyone is too upset. Do it now. Majority of people die from heart attack, cardiac conditions, dementia, cancer conditions. None of these conditions develop overnight. If you are diagnosed with mild dementia today, or an angina or heart failure today, we know what is the trajectory of that illness. We know where you will be in the next 3-5 years' time. If your doctor is not talking to you, you encourage your doctor to start that conversation and document, have an advanced care plan in place. So when the time comes, you have the same type of dignified, peaceful death like Queen Elizabeth. None of us can live like a queen. None of us can have the life our queen had. But we certainly can make sure that we die like a queen. Thank you.